All right, this is a lesson on box and whisker plots. So what is a box and whisker plot? It is a method of graphing. It shows you the locality, spread, and skewness of numerical data throughout quartiles. So if you look at this right here, this is a box and whisker plot. You can see a box in the center, and then these little pieces right here are called whiskers. This one uses dots. I like to use like tick marks instead. The dots are used to draw the 5-number summary. The first tick mark right here, or first dot, that is your minimum value in your data set. In this, the data set wasn't given, but this is our minimum value. So if you look, your minimum value is 15. So when these are listed also, I like to find the min and then the max. Okay, so our maximum value is over here, which is 29. The number in the middle of the data set. So if you had 100 numbers, the number right in the middle of those 100 numbers, okay, that would be your median, right? So that goes right in the middle. Then you have Q1, which is in the number that's in the middle of your minimum and your median. That's Q1. That's your first quartile. And then there's Q3, which is in the middle of your median and your max. So what you do is you form a box with Q1, Q2, and Q3, and then you make whiskers that lead to your min and your max. So here, this was already graphed for us. Let's try, let's look at those again. The vocab's listed right here, and then we're gonna try getting those pieces of information from a box and whisker plot, and then we'll graph 2 box and whisker plots ourselves. All right, so first off, the 5-number summary, okay? This right here is a 5-number summary. I hate the order that it's given to you. I like it in this order right here. Min Q1, median Q3, max. It's called the 5-number summary. And when we say quartiles, that means that a quarter of the data falls right here. A quarter, or 25% of the data falls right here. 25% of the data falls here, and 25% of the data falls right here. It doesn't mean those pieces are equal in size. It just means that that's where 25% of the data falls, okay? All right, so your 5-number summary, once again, is made up of your minimum, also called your lower extreme. That's the smallest number in the data set. I like to do max next, so your max is the highest number in the data set. The median is the number in the middle of the data set. And once again, but as a reminder, your data has to be lined up in order from smallest to biggest in order to look at it and see that. Your first quartile, or Q1, is the number that's in the middle of the first half of the data. And then Q3 is the number that's in the middle of the second half of the data. Your range, how you get it is you take the highest number in the data, which is the max, and subtract the lowest number in the data, which is your minimum. So if I had a group of people in a room and the youngest person was 2 years old and the oldest person was 80, I would do 80 minus 2, and the range of ages is 78 years. We're also going to be asking you for your interquartile range, also known as your IQR, and that is the difference between Q3 and Q1. So that's where 50% of the data lies. That's the middle 50% of the data. So you take the Q3 minus the Q1, and that will give you your interquartile range. All right, so here is a box and whisker plot, and it's already given to you. It doesn't have context, which I'm not a big fan of, but that's okay. So what I like to go through first and do is I like to label the min, Q1, median, Q3, and max. It just makes me make less mistakes. All right, this asks me what's the median. So the median is this number right in the middle, which is 18. The next one asks us, what is the first quartile? First quartile is the same thing as Q1, which is right here, which is 17. Third quartile, which is Q3, that's 20. The minimum value, 16. The maximum value is falling right here, which is in between 21 and 22. This is halfway in between 21 and 22, so that's 21.5, and then this is halfway in between those, so this is 21.25. So our max value is 21.25. What's the range? Once again, to find the range, you're going to take the maximum value and subtract the minimum value. So that's 21.25 minus the minimum value, which was 16, and you get 5.25. So that's the range. The range of this data is 5.25. The interquartile range, you take Q3 minus Q1. Q3, once again, was 20 minus Q1, which is 17, and we get 3. So the interquartile range is 3. Okay, now let's try graphing a box and whisker plot. So number one thing you have to do first is organize the data from least to greatest. Then you find your 5-number summary. Then you draw your box and whisker plot, okay? There's a little note at the bottom right here that says when a data set has an odd number of values, you don't include the median in either half when calculating the quartiles. We'll see an example like that, and I'll explain that if you don't understand that. All right, so first off, we're going to organize the data from least to greatest. So my smallest number here is 0. I can see that this is a 6x4, so there's 24 values in this data set. So I'm going to make sure I get them all. So I'm going to start with 0, and then I'm going to cross it off as I go. So I have there's no 2s, right? No, 3, 3, 3, and 3. So there's 4 3s, 3, 3, 3, and 3. 4 3s. Is there a 2? Nope, there's a 1. I missed it. Not a big deal. Move that over, put 1. All right, so 1 and then 3s. Okay. All right, any 4s? I don't see any 4s, but I see a 5. Put that next. Do I see any 6s? Yes, I see a 6. Okay. 7s, I don't see any. I see an 8, I see 2 of them. Okay. Do I see any 9s? No. 10s, I see 2 of them. And if I skip something, I can squeeze it in and fix this. Oh, I see a 9. So there's a 9, and then 10 and 10. Okay. All right, let's see. 12. All right. I see some 13s. 13, 13. All right. All right, I see a 14. I see a 16. Okay. 18. 19. 23, 24. 32, 45. All right. I knew that there was 24 I counted before, but I think knowing that there's 24 values is a good thing to write down so that I remember that when it comes to finding the median, okay? All right, so now I need the minimum value. The smallest number in my data set is 0, and I need the maximum, which is 45. While I'm here, I'm going to get my range, which you just take the max and subtract the min, which is 45. Now I need the median, which is the number in the middle of the data. So I need the number that's in the middle of 24. So if you think about that, that's an even amount. There's actually 2 numbers in the middle of 24. The 12th and the 13th number are in the middle, right? So these 2 are in the middle because there's 11 bigger than them and 11 smaller. So what I have to do is I have to take an average of those 2 numbers. So I'm going to take 10 plus 10 and divide it by 2. Well, obviously the average of 10 and 10 is 10, but it's not because it's the first one or the last one. It's because it's an average of the 2. All right, now I'm going to find the Q1, the first quartile, Q1. So Q1 is in the middle of the first half of data. So what you're going to do is you split your data into 2, okay? So here's my first half of my data. Here's my second half of my data. So looking at my first half data, the number in the middle, there's 12 digits in the middle, which is another even number. So I'm going to have to take the 6, oopsies, I meant to highlight. I'm going to have to take the 6th and 7th digit, and it's an average of those two. So 3 plus 5 divided by 2, 8 divided by 2, which is 4. The middle in this set of 10 here is 16 and 18. So an average of those two, 16 plus 18 divided by 2 is 17. And then my interquartile range, 17 minus 4 is 13. All right, let's draw our box and whisker plot. So what we're going to do is we're first going to make a number line, right? Number line doesn't have to start at 0, but our data starts at 0, so we're going to start it at 0. The highest ours has to go is 45, so I got to be able to get 0 to 45 on here, and you don't have to put 45 tick marks. I'm going to go by 5s, so I'm going to start at 0, and then I'm going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Okay, I have to label the rest of these. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. Now you also want to label your graph in context if it's given. This one is given. This is number of first cousins. Number of first cousins. So basically 24 people were surveyed and they were asked, how many first cousins do you have? And these were their answers, right? So the first person they asked said, I got 3. And then someone said 10, 18, 8, right? All right, so now to make our box and whisker plot, what we're going to do is we're going to put I put a tick mark. You can do a dot if you want at your min value, which is 0. Then you're going to put a line at Q1, which is 4. And you can connect those now if you want, because that's your whisker right there. Then you're going to put a line at your median, which is 10. And then one at Q3, which is 17. And then you're going to make those 3 lines, Q1, median, and Q3, into a box. Okay? Now lastly, you're going to put Q3, which is 45. And then you are going to make your last whisker right there. And there's your box plot. Pretty simple, right? All right, let's try one more. If you'd like to pause the video and try it yourself, by all means do so. All right, step number 1, put your numbers in order from least to greatest. Boom, it's done for us. How lovely. I do want to know how many values there are, data values in the set. So there's a 3 by 5, so there's 15 values in my data set, so that I can make sure that I find the middle, so on and so forth. All right, minimum value, 95. Maximum value, 184. Range, 184 minus 95, which is 89. All right, next, the median, which is the number in the middle. So when you have 15 pieces of data, there is a number in the middle, right? The 8th number is the number in the middle, because there's 7 numbers smaller than that, 7 numbers bigger than that. So that is 165. Now I'm going to find Q1. Now remember, it said if the data set is odd, you're not going to include the median in the first half of the data. So you're looking at these digits and you're going to say, what's the number in the middle? So if you look, the number in the middle of these, there are 7 digits. It's the 4th number because there's 3 numbers bigger, 3 numbers smaller. So that is 150. Then I need to do the same thing for the Q3 value. Okay, you're going to look at the second half of the data. The number in the middle is the 4th one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 170. So 170 is our Q3. To get our interquartile range, we're going to take Q3, which is 70, minus Q1, which is 150, and we get our interquartile range, which is 20. All right, now we can make our box and whisker plots. I'm going to make my number line. I need my tick marks. The lowest it goes is 95. The highest is 184. So I'm going to go 95 to 185. So I'm going to go 95, and then I'm going to go by 10s because I feel like going by 5s is going to take forever. So I'll do 105, 115, 125, 135, 145, 155, 165, 175, 185. You do have to label them. 115, 125, 135, 145, 55, 65, 75, 85. Now I also see if there's context. There is. Home sale prices in thousands of dollars. Ooh. Home sale prices in thousands of dollars. Okay, so now I'm ready to make my box and whisker plot, and this one is over. 95, 150. Ooh, that's a big whisker. Okay. All right, and then 165. Just making my box here. 170. Connect that to make the box. Beautiful. And then lastly, my minimum value is 184, just short of 185. My last whisker, voila. Okay. Once again, remember 25% of the data falls right here. Okay. So if you look, that's in between 95 and 150. So if you look at that, in between 95 and 150, right here, that's 25% of where 25% of the data falls. Horrible. Okay. All right. That is all for today. You can go ahead and get started on your homework.